Welcome to my very first live stream. It's a novel concept. I'm kind of used to being able to ramble on and say the same thing a couple of times, make a mistake, and it doesn't matter. So this is going to be an interesting experience for me. Yeah, I decided 8 a.m. New Zealand time just because I have a lot of UK viewers through YouTube, and this makes it, I think, 9 p.m. for them. But as I realized in the comments on Patreon, doesn't work so much for Australians. So I think I might start another poll in the future and just first maybe ask where everyone's from so I can kind of figure out the time zones, and then also maybe give a few more suggestions of the time. I guess for this one, I've kind of got limited time options, so this kind of was safe. I kind of knew that I could do this time, but I guess just keep experimenting and see how it goes. So I see there's 5 viewers. Hello, say hello in the chat. Make sure it works. Oh, 4 viewers, someone got scared and disappeared. Yeah, please chat and say hello. I thought I'd start the morning with just an update of where I am, because you can see out the window, this is not a campground. I'm actually back in Auckland. From my video about how I afford this lifestyle, since then, I only had a day or a day and a half work a week through my contract job. So I just decided I was stressing out. It was not working for me. So I've come up to Auckland and I'm at my dad's. So yeah, I'm getting a bit of family time. My brother's up here too, which is nice. And there's a fire, which is amazing. Really like fires. And yeah, so the plan is I came here on Tuesday and I've put out the feelers to the recruitment companies in Auckland. Because I have quite a lot of experience through contracting in Auckland, I've already built up a bit of a reputation. So they've put me forward for 5 jobs already in half a week. And I know I definitely didn't get one. Another one was to start on Tuesday. I haven't heard anything, so I'm guessing I haven't got that. So this is kind of what freelancing and as a graphic designer is like. It's very last minute. You just put forward for different jobs and different companies, and then you wait and see if they like the sound of your CV and if you've got the job. And it's usually quite last minute. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm still trying to work for the contract job in Hawke's Bay. So there's a bit of juggling going on. Yeah, I did a day and a half this week, which worked out because I was moving from Hawke's Bay to Auckland, and yeah, the weather's actually turned. It's not quite as good as it was. So yesterday, yeah, family walk along the beach, which was quite nice, and today it's very blustery. So Alan has a question. How is my shower working? Can you tell me how it works or show us your water pressure? Well, I actually used it a couple of times last weekend, and the water pressure was actually okay. It was more that the hot water didn't last very long, and so I'd have a 30 seconds of good hot water with a good pressure, and then it'd start spluttering a lot and go lukewarm. So I want to experiment soon. I just want to put my water tank right next to the caravan and just time how long it is good for and how long it's hot for, and just try to really figure out how to fix the shower. It actually was draining better this time. I had put some Drano down previously, and that seems to have helped. So the water was draining a lot better. So yeah, at the moment I can just have 30-second showers. Not really long enough to wash this, so, but it would be good to figure out. I would like to get to a certain level where I can have this caravan in the middle of a field with no facilities and feel quite comfortable. So that's the goal. So Robert says, hi, Karen. No live. Is there no live video? Can you guys see me? One question. Can you guys just say that you can see me? Hear from the. So my laptop camera is a bit blurry. Unfortunately, I think this is the best it's going to be. Robert, no, you can't see me. Alan can see me, but I'm a bit blurry. Luther can see me fine. Okay, Robert, can you hear me? Robert, can you hear me? Any technical advice for Robert? No video, just a picture. That is so strange. But you can hear me? Oh, yes? I'm sorry. If someone else has any ideas, I don't quite know. I don't know. Sorry. This is purely experiment this time. I don't really know what I'm doing. So it's good to know that the picture isn't great. Cool. Hello, Kevin. So I'm thinking next time, I think there is a proper webcam somewhere in a cupboard here. So maybe I could try that if the video doesn't look so good. So it's something to think about. And then I missed a question. Have you ever been on a road that you would not recommend for towing? There's plenty of times where I wonder if I'm damaging the caravan driving along a certain road, especially if there's a big dip, because this caravan's quite low to the ground. So, well, even Dad's driveway, every time I reverse into it, the back stabilizing legs that are risen will scrape along the concrete. So it's I guess it's when you have a certain slope and you have to go slowly, otherwise you end up scraping the back of the caravan. And there's, yeah, I'm nervous when I drive on gravel roads because you never know how many potholes there are going to be. But so far, so good. I've managed to stay on the road. And Luther, yes, Hawke's Bay was extremely cold. How are you going? Yeah, it's been a big change in temperature. It's how many hours drive? I ended up doing the drive in 2 days, just because I find driving a caravan can be quite tiring after a while. So I find it good to only kind of do. Well, the last day was about 4 hours drive. So maybe max 4 hours drive in a day. So to break it up just makes it more survivable. So it was very cold in Hawke's Bay when I left. There was one morning when there was ice on the skylight and I had to throw a bucket of water over the car to get the ice off the windshield. Yeah, there were a few very, very cold mornings in the caravan. But Dad's, yeah, he's got an amazing fire. Very good for winter. Very good for winter. I should, and I saw Alan. Yes, I'll have a look at the water size of my water heater and maybe investigate a little bit more. I'm glad you got the camera, Robert. Good stuff. Okay. And Kevin, I scrape the grey water tank getting in and out of the driveway. Oh. Have you managed to have a hole in your grey water tank, Kevin? That would be painful. Yeah, that's something to consider. Now that I've taken the spare wheel out from under the caravan, I want to put a grey water tank up there, and I'm hopeful that the metal caging will protect the grey water tank in the future. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds cold in Canterbury, Kevin. Sympathy with that. Okay. When you do these, I take it you can't see us. No, I can't see you, Robert. Phew. Yeah, it took me a while to figure out what I would do for these live streams. At the start, I was thinking of Skype chat, but then if there's too many, I've done that before where there are 5 of us, and when someone starts to talk, it becomes quite full on. And to be honest, I don't know how comfortable you guys would feel with other people being able to see you. So I don't know, this seems to be the normal setup. Do you like this? Is this working so far? Let me know what you think I should do for the next live stream. You said in summer you were going to the South Island for winter. No, I am now working in Auckland. Yeah, funds just were not very good. No, it's just what happened. There are a few sudden expenses and just work contracting getting a little quiet. I want to figure out, I want to get a couple of jobs that I can work from my laptop anywhere, and then I can just potter about New Zealand, take my time and explore. Yeah. So I just need to find those online jobs. I've actually been put forward for one right now. We'll see. We'll see. And I was thinking, while it's quiet with my contract job in Hawke's Bay, I might set up my website so it has a graphic design section and start maybe approaching companies in this caravan niche and just introducing myself, saying that I make YouTube videos and that I'm also a graphic designer. Is there any business relationship we could do? So that's something I'm kind of thinking about. I kind of feel confident enough to maybe start approaching companies now. And any tips on that, please let me know. Oh, thank you, Robert, for ordering some of my products. It's super exciting. I did see someone just ordered a sticker, which was awesome. It's got plywood under the tank. This is from Kevin. It's got plywood under the tank to protect it, but I'm replacing the tank as part of the reno so it sits in better. Yeah. So Kevin, you put it in yourself. That's impressive. I've kind of seriously seesawed about putting in my grey water tank in myself. I have visualizations of it trailing behind the caravan in the future because I haven't put it in correctly. So that's one thing. I might approach some grey water tank companies as well and just see if we can do business together. It would be handy, but one that I can then empty into small tanks and then put in my car and drive to the dumping station, just because sometimes you don't feel like spending the time attaching the caravan to the car and driving off. When am I going to write my own book about travels? Yep. It's at the back of my mind, but the idea of writing a book is very challenging, and we'll see. We'll see. Alan, a professional for writing the book or installing the grey water tanks? Robert, yes, a movie coming. Oh, that's a pity, Kevin, that someone else installed the grey water tank and it wasn't done very well. I hope you have better luck the next time. And Luther asks, what is the Nissan like to tow, diesel-wise? I find whenever I tow the caravan, I seem to use double the amount of fuel. That was a surprise. I hadn't realized quite how much it would add up. And most people tell me my car, it's a Nissan Terrano, 1997, diesel, 4-wheel drive. A lot of mechanics tell me this is a great car for towing a caravan, but I have to say I just don't love it. I suppose it gave me a lot of problems at the start, and so I ended up spending maybe easily 3K on fixing it up with lots of little problems. And towing, it's actually been towing okay. The latest quirk is the heating doesn't always turn on. So on Tuesday I was going up the Bombay Hill, which is a crazy long steep hill before you when you're going to Auckland, and I decided I'd turn on the air conditioning to get a bit more airflow on the engine to make sure it kept it cool, and it didn't turn on. So I've noticed it's been a little temperamental lately. I had thought it was just when it was really cold it wouldn't turn on, but yeah, I don't know. That's something I have to look into. And yeah, I don't know. Once in a while also I find I'll be driving in the morning, maybe it just needs to heat up, but it'll sound like it's in gear 2, but it won't automatically switch up to gear 3. So I'm racing along at 100 kilometers an hour, waiting for the car to get into the proper gear. But it survived. It survived. It's still going. All right, next questions. I'll just have a look. Robert, yeah, are you comparing me to a woman in a van? Okay, Ellen, I'll contact RV Supercentre, but I almost feel like they're too big, and they won't be that interested in me. And Kevin, yes, it's an old car, 1997. Alan says, buy a Ford Transit, very cheap to operate and much more practical. Yeah, I'll keep that in mind if my car does die and I can't get it going. Hello, Dee Dee. Good morning. I'm glad you've joined. So it is a bit blurry. Okay, this is good to know. So maybe in the future I'll try a different camera maybe. At the moment it's just through my laptop. So it's good to know. Or maybe I'll wipe it. Is that better or worse? It looks worse, isn't it? Oh well. So Kevin, Nissan heaters are temperamental. That's good to know. I've made the camera worse, haven't I? Wait. There's just a bit of disco light going on. I think that's better, right? That's better. That's how it was. Oh well. Thank you, Robert. Same, yes, okay. So Kevin, it's good to know that the engine's good, so it's just a lot of other stuff that's not very good. No, Alan, I don't have a lens cloth on me. So maybe that's something I'll give the lens a really good clean after this and experiment and see if it fixes it for the next time. Would love to see a list from you on your comments on campgrounds. I've just added a tier, $10 a month, and I'm going to add a map and comment on all the campgrounds and my thoughts on them. Yeah, I just need to figure out how to do that. So yeah, Patreon tier, $10 a month. You'll have access to a map of where I've gone and what campgrounds I've stayed at and my thoughts on the campgrounds. Yeah, so if you know how I can do this, I know Finding Simon had a map of all the places he went to and camped, but I don't know if he was able to write in details about what the place was like. So I'm going to do a bit of research. That's on the list to try. A lens cleaner. Yeah, my dad has glasses, so he probably has some lens cleaner. I'll give that a go. What's the subject for next week's video? I've ended up kind of combining 3 topics filming over the last 3 months that I can break into, I think, 4 videos. So I kind of cut it all up, and it was an hour 45 minutes worth of footage. That was way too much. And then I kind of broke it down to just talking about the caravan wheel arch, the spat, the replacement, and that ended up being half an hour, and I've managed to get it down to 17 minutes. And then today's job is to edit it like crazy and get it down to a watchable 10 minutes because it's just really on one topic. So it's very niche. But yeah. Oh, it's also about covering the holes underneath the caravan. And I hadn't realized, but there are a couple of holes in the plastic surrounding the tire. Someone pointed out, they managed to spot that there were some holes in the plastic. So I've also filled that up. So it's actually been quite a lot of work to replace that, but I think it's done. I think I've fixed the tire problem, no more. So that's for on Tuesday. And yeah, I'll finish editing that video today. Hopefully. Well, most of it. Good to hear, Kevin. I'll let everyone know when I've figured out how to do the map. Luther, yes, it was my tissue. So yes, I've probably made it blurrier. Thank you, Robert. I'm glad you guys like the videos. How many hours do I spend making the video? I feel like if I worked back to back on it and didn't have a break, it'd probably take me a day and a half. But I go a bit crazy doing it non-stop. It's yeah, it becomes a bit intense. So you kind of need breaks. So I tend to break it up in over 3 days, and I go through all my footage and clip all the usable footage into one lot, and then I duplicate that, and then I go through and I try to make it into a story that makes sense. And I'm pretty brutal with a lot of footage. There's a lot of footage that's disappeared. It hasn't made the cut. And then the third time is really trimming it, so yeah, so that it fits. I just trim the edges, trim out a lot of the ums, and add copy on top if I've missed something logical in the storyline. Add the title, add the ending, add the audio that goes along the bottom. Yeah. I enjoy making these videos, but they do take a lot longer than I had expected when I first started making them. I remember one of my second video I ever made was my India video, and I think it took me all winter. It took me months to do. It just, yeah. And I've definitely sped up since then. Maybe think about doing some portions as a Patreon only video, like outtakes or the extras that are cut out. So I just don't know. Would you be interested in seeing a 17-minute long video where some parts are awkward silences? Look forward to seeing you on, say, The Breakfast Show or 7 Sharp. So Robert, I've got a surprise. When I was in Masterton, I was actually filmed for like 2 minutes on a TV show that I'm curious to know if it'll actually happen, because it was such a weird experience. But I have been filmed and it should appear on TV for a very, very brief moment. But I didn't really want to say anything because I almost feel like I'm not convinced that it's going to actually happen until I actually see myself on the TV. So that's all I'm going to say. But I did experience being interviewed for a TV show, for a New Zealand TV show. Yeah. I saw your video on how you do it with so much work. Yeah, I'm glad I did my video on showing how I edit. Oh, my tea's going cold. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize until you start editing your own video what the process is like. It's one of those, I was wondering, would you be interested if I take screen grabs of the footage in Photoshop Premiere, not Photoshop, Adobe Premiere, just so you can see what the result looks like with the different layers and the different footage slots? Like, let me know if that's something you might be interested in seeing. Where am I? I keep losing my place in the chat. Is it easy to do the domestics? Do you have some things that you really loathe? Domestics, are they like day-to-day chores? Not a huge fan of emptying the toilet cassette, but I'll do it. I don't know. Yeah, I kind of, you get used to it. I suppose in Hawke's Bay, the apple orchard, there was no place to put your rubbish. So you would have to do a trip to the rubbish tip with these orange plastic bags to dump and then put your recycling in. So I'd almost have a day a week which had boring chores, which I called them. So I'd put my toilet cassette in the boot of the car, I'd load my rubbish and recycling and sometimes my gas bottle, and I'd probably go to the tip, dump everything, go and change my gas bottle, go and dump my toilet cassette, go and fill up my car with petrol. And that was kind of my boring chores day. So I guess I have found it does take longer to maintain. I was actually thinking of doing a routine video just to show all of those boring aspects, but then it could be boring, so I don't know. And like filling it with water is a nonstop. Every 2 days, it's rolling the barrel to the water tap, filling it up, rolling it back, connecting it again. So I don't know, I guess I've become used to those chores. Yeah. So Kevin says, yes, extras or anything that might be interesting but doesn't make the main video. Okay, I'll take that in mind. Maybe I can have a separate video that I save before I delete it. Maybe I'll save it into a certain area as alternatives. I don't know. I'll have a think about that. Definitely let me know your thoughts on what else you want me to show on Patreon. Yeah, okay. It might be raw footage, unedited, like no beautiful audio in the background and no text overlaid. So Dee Dee, you think, what if I do this? Dee Dee, does that make the image better or worse? I could do this one too. Let me know. And Luther says, have you ever thought about buying a drone? I've bought a drone. I have actually bought a drone. I'll get it. Just a moment. I think this is actually part of the reason why I'm feeling so poor at the moment. I spent all my money on this. So it's actually tiny. It's a DJ. It's a Mavic Air. So it's absolutely tiny. I've only used it a couple of times so far. It's just kind of waiting for that perfect weather, and then I've since learnt that there's lots and lots of times when you can't, like, locations that you can't fly it. So it's actually quite limiting, but it's tiny. It's so small. And then you just take out the little flaps on both sides, and you push your button and away it goes. And you've got a controller too. This, you plug your smartphone into this, and these are the controllers for flying it. Yeah. So I've snuck in a little bit of drone footage into my latest videos, but not as much as I had expected before buying this. Yeah. So, and this is the landing pad. I don't have a home for it at the moment. So I keep kind of moving it from the seating area to my bed during the day and then back to the seating area at night. I'm still kind of trying to figure out where to keep all of this. Yeah, I saw Bus Life NZ. I saw one of their videos recently where he did a drone footage over the beach, and it did look absolutely stunning. Yeah, drones are fun, but yeah. So I've learnt with drones, I can't fly it over Dockland unless I have a permit. So I have to pay $50 and list all the places I want to fly it to get their permission first. Otherwise, apparently Doc's really going after people flying drones on land without permission. I've heard the fine's quite painful. So I've actually realized a lot of times I want to fly the drone is on Dockland. And apparently you have to be careful flying it over roads. New Zealand Transport is apparently very strict. But fair enough, I guess the chance of a drone suddenly landing in front of a car would probably cause an accident. And then there's a website called AirShare, and there's a map on that kind of tells you where you can't fly. So there's certain distances, there's areas where around airports, and also like 4 kilometers around hospitals. But if you fly it with a barrier between you and a hospital, that's okay. Like if there's a hill or giant trees or something like that. So I'm still kind of learning what I can and can't. And like I took it to the beach the other day, but it's just too windy. So yeah, selective. All right. And Robert says, my videos are so interesting because they show so many different aspects of life. For example, how we can travel freely, and then there's the how-tos and also the nature trips showing our country. Thank you, Robert. Yeah, I try to kind of, I don't know, I enjoy showing New Zealand. That's always been the fun side for me. And I don't know, I kind of quite enjoy the vlogging part of it. And then I suppose my practical ones partly are because when I bought the caravan, I found it hard to learn. I just didn't quite know where to get the information, and yeah, what was caravanning really like. It was just kind of a guess. And then also partly practical videos do very well on YouTube, because YouTube is all about a lot of people search how to. Like, my most viewed video is how to reverse a caravan, because a lot of people are asking that question in the search bar. So the practical videos help get my name out there. I'm actually curious, how did you find me? How did you find Traveling K? That is something that I'm very curious to know. Yeah. So maybe type where you first saw me. Were you searching on YouTube and stumbled across a video? Or, yeah, let me know. So, Diane, I am sorry. But thank you for letting me know. If you have to buy the caravan over, would you buy a larger, say, twin axle for full-time living? I think if I was buying my caravan again, to be honest, I just couldn't afford anything bigger than this. This was my absolute maximum on my budget. It was 30K, and I had been trying to get one that was less than that, but this just seemed too good. If I was buying a caravan again, I would get one with a separate shower. It just really bugs me. Yeah, it would just be a lot handier if I had a separate shower. But I'm very glad I got one with a fixed bed. I think if I had to make up a bed every single night, that would be extremely annoying. I am curious. I think if it had a twin axle, I think that means I could have a little more weight in the caravan, and it would feel a little more stable. So I guess if I was upgrading my caravan and money wasn't an issue, I'd get maybe, yeah, definitely a fixed bed and one with a separate shower, and yeah, maybe look into weight. What is the maximum weight that I can have in the caravan? That would be very handy. And hopefully one with a good working fridge. Oh, okay. So Kevin found me in the NZMCA magazine. That was right at the start. I only just kind of got the caravan. I was still feeling very new and uncertain with what I was doing. And Alan found me with full-time living in New Zealand in a caravan. I'm glad that I'm turning up under that search. Was searching something about caravanning. Ah, I'm glad that you like my caravan. Thank you. What size is my caravan? It's about 6.5 meters. Yeah, and it's called I don't know, they call it full berth. Found me while searching around full-time off-grid living. Yeah, off-grid living. Interesting that I'm popping up on that as well. Thank you, Ellen, for the maximum laden weight. Oh, Kevin, that's great to hear that you've been following me since reading that article. I do feel like I've come a long way since then. I remember I'd just done my trip and I'd run out of money. So I'd found the caravan in South Island, done a 3-month trip around the South Island, and then I ran out of money. So I came back to Auckland and left the caravan at Dad's. And then I had a phone interview for the NZMCA magazine. How did they find me? I actually can't remember. Anyway, it seems too long ago. But yeah, it was an interesting experience. Very interesting experience. That's a good size caravan, Kevin. Yeah, okay. Joanne, I'm now worried that I'm pronouncing people's names wrong. Let me know. So your husband found me while looking at other videos. Okay. And yeah, I do feel more confident reversing. My dad's driveway is very interesting. He's behind a house, so it's down a long driveway, and then there's a sharp turn, and there's no place to turn around. So this is when having a motor mover would be very, very handy. So I've done it enough to know I'm able to now, yeah, pretty easily get it down the driveway, reverse it down the driveway and around a sharp corner. This time it was interesting because there were a couple of kids in a car on the road waiting while I was trying to get the caravan at the right angle to start reversing down the driveway. So no, yeah, it's always fun when there's someone watching you reversing. But actually I filmed this one, so that will go into a future video, me reversing down my dad's driveway. Okay, Alan, that's good to know that I'm popping up so high in the search for New Zealand caravanning. And Dai, I'm glad to hear that you're learning from my videos as well. I like that I'm kind of just yeah, sharing from my mistakes, I guess, and hopefully it helps. And Robert asks, am I still planning to get a little dog? I seriously, whenever a ridiculous amount of time I spend just looking at puppies on Trade Me. I don't know what's going to happen if I find that ideal dog for sale on Trade Me. I'm going to pause on the dog idea at the moment. I kind of want to wait until I can work full-time from the caravan and maybe wait. I might do one more trip in the South Island and do as many of the DOC campgrounds as possible. Just because a lot of, well, you know, most DOC national parks, you can't take a dog in. So that will be quite restrictive. So I might do a big blast of, yeah, national parks and do all the things that I can't do as easily with a dog. And I still really want one. Yeah, it's on my mind a lot. Do I have a reversing camera? No, I don't. I don't really feel the need for one now. I kind of feel confident enough without it. I think it would be handy getting a motor mover. More for, yeah, ease of getting down my dad's driveway. It just would make life a little bit easier. And there have been times I kind of almost feel like New Zealand campgrounds are designed for motorhomes rather than caravans. So when you reverse into a spot at a campground, the view is behind you. So it's perfect for a motorhome, but not so good for a caravan where you want the view to be this way. So if you have a motor mover, you can just easily move the caravan around to whatever view is best. So that would be pretty handy. Who was my inspiration for doing this? It was a kind of a combination. I was watching a lot of van life videos on YouTube. Finding Simon, I guess, was one of them. He's pretty realistic in what the life is like. And I watched a video. It was, what's the YouTube channel? It's a New Zealand one about tiny houses. Living small, living big in something or other. I've forgotten the name. It's all about tiny houses. One of his very first videos was interviewing a girl living in a pop-top caravan in the backyard. And that guy, that might have got me thinking about caravans, to be honest. I thought pretty quickly, though, that a pop-top would not be very good for full-time living in New Zealand, and that I'd want a bathroom and a kitchen on board. But it gave me, I think, something to start thinking about, because I wanted a movable home, and I was looking at tiny houses, but they're too hard to move around. And I was looking at motorhomes, but they were too expensive. And I also like the idea of leaving my caravan somewhere and then being able to drive my car separately. Yeah, I think though that was my inspiration for doing this. And why YouTube videos? I initially started just blogging, just writing. I was bored at work. I was working at Flight Centre and I was just bored. It's not the most creative job. So I decided to start my own travel blog and just have a bit of a creative outlet. I'd be my own boss, just do whatever I wanted. And I took an online course as well. And then, I don't know, I was doing a little bit of video editing through the Flight Centre job. And I don't know, just the videos, I think when I did my very first vlog sitting in front of the camera, I was very nervous. The concept of being in front of the camera was foreign to me. It's something I thought I'd never do, which is kind of funny. And just the response I got online from that video made me think, okay, maybe I should start doing a few more videos with me in front of the camera. And I found that had the most growth. My videos with me in front of the camera had the most growth from everything else. So I thought maybe I should start focusing on the videos more. Oh, Alan, but it sounds like your caravan is a lot bigger than mine. And yeah, Kevin, you're exactly right. I do learn from people's tips. I've started I find if I come across something I don't know, I'll share my problem in a video, and chances are I'll get results in the comments below the videos, which is so handy. It's really handy. I suppose I started at the start. I kind of felt like I was supposed to know all the answers already, but I've gradually relaxed and acknowledged that I don't know everything. I'm still very much a junior caravaner, so it's okay to acknowledge that I don't know everything. And yeah, there are people watching who have a lot of experience and are happy to share. It's a novel way of learning. And Luther, don't buy a wireless reversing camera. They're no good. Okay, good to know that you recommend motor movers. It's on my list, but maybe further down. I really want that grey water tank fitted underneath the caravan, and fixing my shower. They're probably the two things I really want to fix next, the bigger items. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Dave. Yes, living big in a tiny house. That's the one. And Joanne, we like how you handle problems. You just get in and sort them out. I have a great attitude. Thank you. That's really nice to hear. Oh, Kevin, that's really interesting to hear. So Kevin grew up on a bus with a family of 5. Really interesting. I like that. I'm sure you have quite a few interesting stories. Would you like to be interviewed? Let me know. Yeah, dogs can be restrictive. I suppose that's why I'm kind of seesawing about getting a dog. There are definite pros and cons. Yeah. I think, yeah, I don't know. There's so many pros and cons with the dog. I seriously keep seesawing. So motor movers sound quite expensive. 3,000. Alan says that 3,000 for a motor mover. And Robert, I used to live in a campground you mentioned in your video at Northcote. Ah, Northcote campground in Auckland. That's my favorite one for city living. It's I found there are 2 that are closer to the city, but they're like $50 a night for a powered site, and they're not really designed. The non-powered sites are not really designed for caravans. They're more for vans or very small motorhomes, and they just don't have a nice feel about them. And then I stayed at a couple of campgrounds on the outskirts of Auckland, but then it was like an 1.5 to 2 hour drive in the morning to get to work and in the evening. So that was not fun. But Northcote was $30 a night, and it wasn't too painful to drive into the city. So it was kind of like the best of everything. It's if I might end up back there briefly. I'm not quite sure what's happening in the next couple of months. Just depends on work. I am house sitting for a friend for 3 weeks in Auckland, and yeah, a couple of friends have said I can stay if I'm working for just a couple of days during the week. And then I might end up at that Northcote campground as well if I get a solid block of work. So we'll see. We'll see. Not sure what's going to happen, but I'll keep making these videos. I've filmed so much. I've actually got 4 or 5 videos to edit. I'm feeling like I'm a bit behind. So right now I'm in Auckland, but it's going to be like the 4th or 5th video before YouTube knows that I'm in Auckland. Yes, let me know, Kevin, when you've done up the caravan. I'm keen on that. So I might be interviewing Kevin. How do I feel about NZMCA parks? They're good. They're a good idea. They feel safer to me than freedom camping most times. They're usually just a large, for people who don't know what NZMCA parks are, you join this membership, and these parks are $3 a night, and they're basically a paddock that sometimes they are renting from a building company that will eventually build there, but for now they're not. Or I don't know if they buy some of the land. I'm not quite sure. So they're basically a paddock with a little cabin. Sometimes they have water. Sometimes you can leave your rubbish. I've stayed in some. I was thrown out of one in Taupo. The guy was not happy with my small grey water tank, but it gets a bit tricky because I'm not strong enough to lift the official grey water tank. So that was my way of being good. But no, so the Taupo NZMCA Park actually owes me for 4 nights. I'll still, one day I'll go back there. And so yeah, that's really good motivation to get this grey water tank. I think once I get the grey water tank, I think it'll be easier to stay at NZMCA parks and Freedom Camp. It'll just make life a little bit easier. But I think the parks are great. They do feel safe, and there's usually a good community. There was one in Whitianga. I ended up talking to one of their members, and he invited me around to his house for a cup of tea. So it was just lovely. It's a really nice way of meeting people. So yeah, he even invited me to go out fishing over summer, but I just haven't been back. Yeah, one day. And Robert, my family traveled the country in a little 8-foot ply caravan called a Cupid, and there were 5 of us. Funny, that's what got me interested in caravans. That's awesome. Oh, yeah, that's a really nice story. In the 1960s. I think Cupid, are they the really cute caravans? I feel like I remember a photo of a very, very cute caravan. That's a great story. So with my family, we used to go camping together with tents. We'd have one big tent for all 4 of us to sleep in, and then a tent which was kind of the communal living area for when it rained. And yeah, so I kind of grew up camping a lot. Some really nice memories. And I suppose traveling, I had traveled to the South Island a couple of times, maybe 2 or 3 times before getting the caravan. And I would always just have my car or rent a car and take my tent and just camp on Dockland around New Zealand and feel safe. And yeah, I think that's a great way to see New Zealand on a budget. And NZMCA parks have the downside of taking away members from smaller parkover properties. Yeah. It's interesting. Parkover properties are people who have a bit of land, just locals who have a bit of land and are happy for people to stay the night. And they're interesting. The Apple Orchard is a parkover property, and I find you never know what the setup is going to be like until you turn up. So the Apple Orchard, I had assumed I could only stay maybe a week max, but turns out it's set up for semi-permanent residents, and the owner loves having everyone there, and there's like a drinks once a week. We all get together and have a chat. It's very social. And then last weekend, I actually tried another parkover property just down the road. On the app, it says maximum 3 nights stay, and I turned up, and turns out there are about 8 to 10 vehicles that people are just storing on his land. So about 8 to 10 empty vehicles that, yeah. So you couldn't see that you could store your vehicle there on the app. It's not until you kind of turn up in person that you find out that that's the option. Yeah, is it taking away from members? I honestly don't know. I think maybe I need to stay at more parkover properties. There's always that underlying discussion. Some now are closing down because they're unhappy with the attitude of people coming to stay. I'm hoping it carries on. It's a great idea. I feel a little nervous a lot of the time turning up to parkover properties because you never know the setup and how much freedom or privacy you'll get until you're there. But on the other side, I feel very safe when I stay at Parkover Properties, and sometimes you have shower options too, which is great. I stayed at another one just down the road from Hobbiton, and the guy, he's actually converted it a little bit for tourists as well, because he was so sick of tourists pulling over into his driveway for the night. And then he told me of one story where the milking truck charged in and nearly flattened this tent that had pitched up in the middle of the driveway at night because they hadn't really seen what was going on. So that was a near miss. So he's ended up setting up a proper, it's still officially a Parkover property, but it's also a campground for tourists. And he's got a cabin with a couple of showers and toilets and the most amazing view out over Matamata. It's stunning. It's really beautiful setting. Yeah. So I guess with Parkover Properties, there are a lot of stunning surprises, hidden spots. And yeah, the Taupo NZMCA Park is a little noisy, but the location's great and the price is great. $3 a night. Like the other options, there's a Freedom camping spot. They've closed down a lot in the area, but is it Miles Bay? I haven't actually tried that one. Apparently that's a popular Freedom camping spot. But then there's lots of campgrounds, but they're expensive campgrounds because it's a popular holiday destination. How is my fridge and battery working? The fridge has been fine, actually. I'm now thinking maybe it's a temperature thing. So funnily enough, in summer, when you want a cold fridge, that's when it starts playing up. So the fridge has been okay at the moment. It's been okay. And then the battery, I'd honestly hadn't been happy with my battery. I'd paid $1,000 for these 2 giant batteries and felt like I was only using about the same amount as my tiny battery from before. And I was just not sure. So coming up to Auckland, I organised to pop into AA Solar on the North Shore of Auckland and asked them to have a look. And it turns out my computer needed to be reset. I've got this computer controller that records the percentage and how much I'm using. And yeah, it was still set for 95 amps instead of 390 amps that I've got at the moment. So I've been worrying about the percentage I've been using, and I've probably only been using about 5% of these giant batteries. So I'm really keen to hit the road again and just experiment and see how much power I actually have now. Yes, Robert, please send me a photo. That'd be awesome. And Dai, yes, the apple orchard. That's when you use your drone. Yes, I've used the drone a couple of times with permission from the owner. And there's one time I still haven't used the footage, where it was a Sunday afternoon and all of us were sitting around having a drink, and a couple of them were like, "Oh, get out your drone, we want to see you fly it." So I've got footage of flying down and them all waving at the drone. So that's something that's something I will be sharing in a future video. Yeah, the apple orchard does feel it's a pretty special place. It feels a bit like home at the moment. And Kevin, it's quite a surprise how often those apples are sprayed. Yes, I know. I was surprised at how often they were sprayed. Oh, you were a spraying operator. That's interesting. It's a shame that your mum closed her Parkover property because of the attitude. That is a shame. Yeah, that's interesting to hear. But yes, the apple spray. When I first went to the apple orchard, I had that beautiful spot right by the apple trees, but I think he was spraying once a week. So my caravan would be coated in this gooey, gooey substance. So I ended up moving it, and it is a surprise how often they do spray the apples. It can't be that healthy, really. Anyway, they do taste good. And Robert asks, have you worked out what the other sticker is yet? The one next to your gear lever. What do you mean, Robert? Worked out what the other sticker is, the one next to my gear lever. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know. Yeah. It's yeah. Let me know, Robert, what you mean. And stick by my gear stick. What was the lever? Oh, the random for putting into 4-wheel drive. I have considered, I don't know, I probably need to learn how to properly use the car in 4-wheel drive. I kind of feel like I'm winging it, and I don't know if I'm doing it correctly. So maybe, does anyone here know how to properly drive a 4-wheel drive? Can you give me some lessons? That's something that's on my list to learn. Like, it would be kind of cool to take it off-road and actually try going to these harder, out-of-the-way places. Yeah. So that's something I would like to learn. And I'm sure it would make a funny video as well. Yeah? All right, I've been talking for over an hour. So any last questions before we stop this? And I'm hoping, like, this is a pure experiment, so I don't even know if this will automatically record everything, or so we'll see. If this has recorded this video, then I'll pop it in the Patreon stream, and I'll try to figure out a better video for better camera for the future ones. Yeah, this has been, I was really nervous about this live stream, but thank you guys, it's been good. It hasn't felt as yeah, scary as I thought. Yeah, doing a 4x4 course, that would be good. I have heard there's one just outside of Rotorua. That's something I might think about. Yeah, so I guess Robert, I'll go off and finish editing my video. It's like the perfect day for sitting inside and editing. Right, okay. I think this is it. I'm going to stop, and thank you so much for joining. And yeah, I'll start doing these once a month, and let's see if this records this. And Kevin says, only need when you're stuck. Yes, I have got stuck though a few times. Awesome. Okay, see you everyone. Bye.